Ahmed Tinubu's call for peace in Palestine and the Biafra question. An analysis of justice without boundaries. My people, this one is a good news. I repeat, this one is a good news. Bola made Tinubu's a trip to Saudi Arabia to join the Muslim whatever. It's automatically a free ticket for Biafrans to go back home. In fact, not for Biafrans to go back home. We are at home already. Ask me how. Bola Ahmed Tinubu went to Saudi Arabia and used his own gun to shoot his own leg. Just the same thing Shetima did at the just concluded UNGA, which is a United Nations General Assembly, calling for peace in Palestine, calling for ceasefire, calling for the independent state of Palestine. What does that signify? The world are watching them and looking at them like they are mumus. You first of all remove the block or the plug in your eyes before telling somebody to remove that one on their own eyes. You get the point now, eh? I hope you get the point I'm trying to make. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his vice Shetima forgotten that they never cease fire in killing the Biafrans. The Zoo that call themselves the Nigerian government have forgotten that they first of all grant the Biafrans the independence that they are asking for since 1966 or rather 1967 to date. And they are telling Israelites, they are telling Israeli to leave Palestine for them to have their own country. Why you are holding Biafrans hostage? Yeah. This is a free ticket to Biafra land, and we are home already. So, as you get this video, do me one favor. Just watch finish, relax, and continue your celebration because we are home already. Because according to the report I'm getting this morning, the Israeli is going to cease fire and grant the Palestinians their own independence. As per the information I'm getting from a very reliable source from White House. In other words, Biafra freedom is here at last, and Abazonians is going to have their own freedom as well. To tell you the simple truth that some people don't know, the freedom of Biafra or the liberation of Biafran people is going to be a mass liberation of many African countries who have been who have been held captive rather by their oppressors called the colonizers. I am very happy that many African countries are beginning to wake up to chase France out of their land and tell them we don't need you anymore. The same way we are going to chase UK, the evil UK, out of our land, that we don't need them. And they must account for all the whole evil they have perpetrated against our people. And all the whole crude oil they have been siphoning from our land without gauge, without all the whole gold, silver, cocoa, coal, and also our natural God-given gas. They must account for it. If not now, it will be in the future. But let us go straight to the reason why we're here this morning. Tinubu's call for peace in Palestine and the Biafran question, an analysis of justice without boundaries. Another information here. Finally, the North has agreed with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu over the secession and disintegration of Nigeria. One thing must happen, but the truth is that the North can never be trusted. They are shouting all these things now simply because the power is no more in their hand. If by 2027 or 2031 you give them power, they will revise and tell you that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. They are just like chameleons. If power is out of their hand, you will see them shouting, hunger, hunger, araba, araba. Shouting insecurity. Whereas they are the one that is importing insecurity into their land by their own self. When power gets to their hand, they will forget about the pains, forget about what their people are passing through, and it is non-negotiable. No problem. God will see us through. I beg, let us read in between the lines. Please like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe. Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently stood at a meeting of world leaders in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and proclaimed Nigeria's long-standing support for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. A vision in which Israelis and Palestinians may live side by side with equality and dignity was presented in this powerful play for peace, justice, and mutual recognition. Those who paid close attention, however, could not help but see the irony. Tinubu was promoting peace and self-determination on a global scale. But in Nigeria, similar calls for justice are frequently met with a locked door, backward turn, extrajudicial killings, and incarceration of their leaders. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a typical example. A man who lives in a glass house should not throw stones. So says an old proverb. However, it is impossible to avoid wondering if Tinubu overlooked his own glass walls. The Biafra issue, which has not been addressed or resolved, in his plea for Palestinian rights, the Igbo people are still marginalized, sidelined in Nigerian politics, despite the fact that their history and identity are closely linked to their demand for autonomy. They want respect, recognition, and they say in how their future is shaped, just like the Palestinians do. They are also frequently attacked, man-hunted each time they raise their heads to say or make demands about this. Tinubu's remarks in Riyadh appeared admirable, very, very good speech. But when they aren't supported by these at home, admirable words have a way of sounding hollow and ridiculous. In his speech, Tinubu passionately invoked the principle of self-defense and the need for proportionality. He called for the world to work together in pursuit of peace in a rules-based international order. He said, states have the right of self-defense, but self-defense must take proportionality into account, in line with global legal, diplomatic, and moral frameworks. The words are hard to argue with. Who does not support proportionality and restraint? But beneath the surface, there is a question that begs for answers. If the Palestinian struggle for statehood deserves support, why is the Biafran struggle viewed differently? That is the question that many have been asking without receiving an answer. Nigeria, like many countries, claim to champion human rights and self-determination when it is convenient. The idea of a rules-based international order sounds admirable, but in practice, it often comes with strings attached. In the case of Israel and Palestine, some nations have supported the Palestinian cause, while others hesitate. Russia openly backs a two-state solution, while the United States, with its deep alliance with Israel, tend to shy away. Nigeria, too, has backed Palestinian independence for decades, but when it comes to Biafra, suddenly those positions turns the opposite automatically. As another saying goes, a goat cannot smell of pepper and deny it. Nigeria cannot preach justice abroad while denying it at home without others noticing the stark hypocrisy. Justice, if it is to mean anything, cannot be selectively applied. If Nigeria truly believes in justice and self-determination, it must apply these values consistently in all cases. Tinubu's address to world leaders included a pointed observation: identity politics are no substitute for respecting the nuisance of diversity. This remark, while directed at the Israel and Palestinian conflict, could very well apply to Nigeria itself. Nigeria is a complex nation with over 250 ethnic groups, each with its own language, culture, and history. Diversity is our strength, or so we claim. But unity can only thrive when diversity is respected, not suppressed. The Nigerian Civil War is a painful memory, a chapter that lingers in the nation's consciousness. The war of aggression by Nigerians against Biafra claimed millions of lives, mostly Biafran children, and left scars that still haven't healed in the minds of Biafran's people. Since then, Nigeria has insisted on a united nation, but unity cannot come at the expense of identity. As the Igbo proverb says, a person who does not know where the rain began to beat him will not know where it stopped beating him. That's a very simple logic. When Tinubu advocates for peace in Palestine, he calls on Israel and Palestine to recognize each other's right to coexistence, to respect each other's identities, and to coexist peacefully. It is a noble goal, but if we are to preach mutual respect abroad, shouldn't we start by preaching it at home? A question mark. Let us not forget that global politics often runs on double standards. The Palestinian people are agitating for total sovereignty, yet some nations remain reluctant to support their call for statehood, preferring to prioritize strategic alliance and regional stability. Nigeria's position aligns with the Palestinians' quest for independence, but only from a safe distance. The same Nigerian leaders who endorse justice for Palestinians seem all too willing to forget the voices of the Biafran people back home who are facing police and military brutality for asking for Biafra freedom. In Nigeria, there is another saying, the leopard cannot change its spots. If Nigeria is truly committed to justice, it must apply that commitment evenly, both in its support for Palestinians and its approach to Biafra. True justice is universal. It does not pick and choose. The call for peace in Palestine is a reminder of the work that needs to be done to address the grievances of those who feel unheard and unseen. In Palestine, as in Biafra, people are asking for recognition and the right to shape their own future. If the so-called Nigeria truly believes in the principles it preaches, it must apply them at home as well as abroad. Tinubu's appeal for peace and two-state solution in Saudi Arabia was a commendable gesture towards peace. But gestures are not enough. If Nigeria wishes to stand as a beacon of justice, it must lead by example. Supporting Palestinians' right to exist and calling for a two-state solution means embracing a vision of peace that values autonomy, self-governance, and mutual recognition. These values can not only apply to the Middle East, they must also inform Nigeria's approach to regions within its own borders. In Riyadh, President Tinubu called for a new thinking and a new path to peace, urging world leaders to embrace justice, dignity, and mutual respect. His words struck a chord, but they must be more than words. There is a moral imperative to apply these values consistently, whether the issue is the Israel-Palestinian conflict or Nigeria's own Biafra question. In Nigeria, we have a saying that goes, a child who washes his hands can eat with elders. If Nigeria truly wants to be taken seriously as a voice for justice on the world stage, it must first ensure that its hands are very clean. It cannot advocate for Palestinian freedom while ignoring similar for the Biafran people. Justice cannot be boxed into convenient compartments. If Nigeria is to champion a world where dignity, respect, and autonomy are upheld, it must ensure that these values extend to all who call for them, including those within Nigeria's own borders. As Nigeria stands with Palestine, Let us remember the cry for justice and autonomy in Biafra land. Let us recognize that justice is indivisible, sorry to say. It knows no borders and no selective memory. It is only through consistency and integrity that Nigeria can truly uphold its call for a just and peaceful world, both abroad and also at home. This message is written by Family Writers Press International, bringing to you this Obonga news. And now here, we go say bye-bye. Please like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing. We are coming back again with the news of headline. Finally, the Northerners have agreed with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Have a nice day, my people. Share and make sure you keep subscribing. Que Messiano, my wonderfully made people.